So today is going to be a check-in. All of us around the world have been living with this pandemic now for a year or more. It's touched the life of every human being on Earth. Certainly has affected all life on Earth. And we're going to review some Rosicrucian techniques for radiant health. We're also going to do a check-in on ourselves and see what the state of our inner being is. We will be attuning with the celestial sanctum, where we'll send thoughts of thanks to the many people who have been helping us during this time, essential workers, healthcare professionals, so many people who have selflessly shared themselves and risked their lives to help others. We will take some time to send thoughts to our fratres and sorors who have gone through transition and to other people who have gone through transition. And we're going to have a meditation for opening ourselves up to the best way to go forward. To begin, I invite you to just sit relaxed, close your eyes, take 3 deep breaths, and go within to be aware of the state of your being. Checking in on how you're doing. Be aware of where you may feel this in your body. If you have a way to write down a note, write down in 1 or 2 words what describes your inner state, your state of being right now. And if you don't have something to write with, just make a mental note. We're going to come back to this in a little while. We'll end with this. For now, we're going to explore some of the techniques for staying healthy on the physical plane, on the mental plane, staying healthy emotionally, techniques from the Rosicrucian teachings. And many of these were presented in the issue of the Rosicrucian Digest that was published in late 2019. The theme of this issue was radiant health, and we presented many very helpful techniques that we can use for radiant health. And a few things that were in an article by H. Spencer Lewis in this issue, the article is called Self-Healing, it reminds us that any disease is caused by being out of harmony. And one primary way where we can get ourselves out of harmony is if we hold bad thoughts about other people. So in this article, H. Spencer Lewis suggests that we think back about anyone who we may not have had positive thoughts about or may have had negative thoughts about. And we may not be ready to send them good thoughts, but we can at least send them neutral thoughts, or we can hold them in our thoughts in a neutral way. So let's take a couple of minutes now. Just think of someone who, for whatever reason, even if you thought it was perfectly justified, you sent bad thoughts to someone. And then take a few moments and see them in your mind's eye. Either see yourself sending them good thoughts, or surrounding them with light, or just be able to glance at them, even just for a short amount of time, and have neutral thoughts. We'll do this just for a couple of minutes. And now in that, and open your eyes. H. Spencer Lewis also gives a number of helpful techniques for closing our energy circuit in order to have more energy available for our self-healing. And we can practice this very simple exercise. Hold your fingertips together with your hands apart. So have all of your fingertips touching, but don't have the palms touching. And if you have bare feet, this is even more effective, but you can even do it with shoes on. Have your feet touching. Rosicrucians use techniques, especially from the first two fingers and the thumb on different places on our spine for self-healing and for helping others. And if we need extra energy, this keeps that energy, the emanations from our fingers, from going off into space. So just for a few moments, hold your hands so that your fingertips are all touching each other, and have your feet next to each other, and close your eyes and just take deep neutral breaths, which means that you don't hold the breath on the inhalation or the exhalation. And when you're ready, drop your hands and sit in the natural way. So again, many powerful Rosicrucian techniques for healing are included in the Rosicrucian Digest, which is available for free online. You just go to rosicrucian.org, and then at the top of that page, there is a tab that says texts, T-E-X-T-S, and then under that, Rosicrucian Digest, and the issue that focuses on radiant health on all levels of our being is from 2019, issue number 2. Also, last year, at the beginning of the pandemic, we explored radiant health during many different teleconferences that we present every Wednesday. And many of those are available on youtube.com/Rosicrucian TV. And there are some that we did not post on YouTube. They're for members only. So if you go to where you go to access your monographs online, your online member portal, at the top of that page, there is a tab that says Grand Masters Messages. If you click on that, you'll see many videos there. And there's also an index at the top of that page, so you can find the ones on different issues related or different videos related to radiant health. And I tried to be specific in the index so that you would know when we discussed certain vowel sounds or did certain exercises. So it has some details to help you identify the video that might be most helpful to you. Also on the YouTube channel that I just mentioned, youtube.com/Rosicrucian TV, we have the entire video series, Spiritual Laws That Govern the Universe and Humanity by Frater Lonnie Edwards, MD. All of those are available there for you to watch as well. Another technique that was shared in that issue of the Rosicrucian Digest is that before we fall asleep, we're lying in bed, and there are techniques for feeling the peace within our soul and to feel the healing current of the cosmic passing through our body. And the specifics of that technique are included in that issue of the Rosicrucian Digest featuring radiant health. Of course, we also have the Council of Solace available for healing. This is metaphysical aid that is available to anyone who requests it. The Council of Solace is a group of members both at the Grand Lodge at Rosicrucian Park in San Jose and around the world. Members, anyone can participate in the Council of Solace. We send good thoughts to anyone who has asked for metaphysical aid. It can be health related or maybe related to a relationship or financial issues. And all you have to do to be included in those meditations is to send your thought out. You simply need to, in your thoughts, let it be known what it is that you need help with. You can also send an email, if you prefer, to council, C-O-U-N-C-I-L, council at Rosicrucian.org. That goes to the Council of Solace. And you can rest assured that metaphysical aid for you will begin immediately and will continue for as long as needed. We also have published, and it's part of an article from this is included in that issue of the Rosicrucian Digest, information on the 7 major psychic centers and the glands or organs or the plexus that's associated with those. And please keep in mind that in the very first set of monographs, in cycle 1 of our monographs, we have a special meditation. And this is also described in the Rosicrucian Forum magazine. It's a meditation where we can stimulate the different psychic centers in our body. And there are 7 major psychic centers, and we have divided them up 1 per week, just because 7 days of the week and the 7 major psychic centers. 1 isn't associated with a particular day of the week. But we start with the solar plexus, and this is a meeting point and an exchange zone for the glands. The solar plexus is not a gland and it's not an organ, but it communicates and directs many of the organs in our abdomen. And so we are instructed in the vowel sound to intone for the solar plexus. And that information, again, is in the Forum magazine. And if you want to see a copy of the Forum magazine, again, you go to your member portal. First, you go to Rosicrucian.org. And then there's, in the upper right, it said members page. We log in. And on the right sidebar of every page, it says Forum. So you just click on that and you will see the latest issue of the Rosicrucian Forum. And it includes the instructions for this daily meditation. And it also includes an image showing the body and where these psychic centers are. So as we move up the body, we then have the suprarenal glands, which are just above the kidneys. And then we have the heart center. And the heart actually has a gland within it. And the heart calms and directs the circulation of the blood's vital force. And it also soothes our nerves. Then as we move up, we have the thymus center. And this is the protector of the self. And it's also very important in our immunity and in our sense of self and our integrity. Then we have a psychic center in the thyroid area. And this directs the quality of life and functions like a thermostat of arousal, of, when we need to be ready. And also our inner, metabolism, the heat, and it allows us to adapt to stress. Then we have the pituitary center, which is between the eyebrows, but it's not on our face. It's in the center of our head. And this is the conductor of the body's organic functions, and it directs cellular growth and the multiplication and division of cells, as well as our genital and reproductive functions. And then we have the pineal center, which is in the center of the forehead, but again, in the center of the head. And this gives a certain rhythm to our life and helps us to regenerate ourselves psychically as well as physically by having a very important effect on the aging process. So again, right in the very first set of our lessons, cycle 1, we have this meditation that helps us to stimulate these different psychic centers. The monographs let us know that many illnesses, many challenges that we have with our health are because our organs lack resistance and stability. And this is often due to a deficiency of minerals and trace elements. And there are 3 simple exercises that we can do related to this, and we're going to do these now. So if you would please sit in whatever way is most comfortable for you. Just take a deep breath and exhale completely. Now we can make up for a good portion of this deficiency of minerals and trace elements. Of course, we should eat healthy food and natural food so that there are more minerals and trace elements available in them. And many of us take supplements. I take supplements to make sure I'm getting enough minerals and elements. But to make up for this deficiency in some part, we can take the first 2 fingers and the thumb of our non-dominant hand. I'm right-handed, so my non-dominant hand is my left hand, and we place it on the solar plexus, which is just above the navel, and we do deep negative breathing. And negative breathing, we'll do this now. Exhale completely. Hold your breath for as long as is comfortable. And then when you inhale, don't hold your breath. You just inhale completely. And then you exhale again. And again, holding the breath when the lungs are empty. And we'll just do this for a minute or so with the thumb and first 2 fingers of our non-dominant hand on the solar plexus. Okay, drop that hand. And now place your dominant hand. Again, I'm right-handed, so my dominant hand is my right hand. If you're left-handed, it's your left hand. Place your dominant hand on the thymus center here. Thymus is in this general area, and take deep positive breaths. This will help to neutralize pathogens. So positive breaths mean that we inhale completely. We hold our breath for as long as is comfortable, but not longer than that. Don't do this until you're uncomfortable. And then when you exhale, you don't hold your breath. So we're holding our breath while our lungs are full of air. So we'll do this for a few moments. Again, this exercise helps to neutralize pathogens. Drop your hand and make a mental note of how you may be feeling. To my surprise, I broke out in a sweat during that one. Almost immediately, I broke out in a sweat. So now we're going to do a third exercise related to this. And this is if we have an underactivity of our endocrine glands. This is under the control of the pituitary. And we practice neutral breathing, which again means we don't hold the breath on the inhalation or the exhalation, just deep breaths in and out. And we put our first two fingers and our thumb on each temple. So we can do that now. So we'll do this just for a minute or so, just neutral breathing with our first two fingers and our thumb on each temple. Okay, and you can drop your hands. That exercise is also helpful if you have a headache. Just make a note of how you're feeling right now. Next, we're going to intone a vowel sound that helps to create helps us to feel more calm, that can help us to fall asleep. It relieves pain. It can put our soul in harmony with silence because it promotes going within, and it can also help us to be more receptive to mystical impressions. And this is the vowel sound K-E. It's spelled K-H-E-I and pronounced K-E. And it also helps with overall healing. So if you're ever not feeling 100%, you can intone this vowel sound, which we'll do together 3 times now. So take a deep breath and just exhale completely. Feel yourself relax with the exhalation. Ready? Inhale. K. When you're ready, open your eyes. Now we're going to practice a meditation to ascend with the celestial sanctum. And the celestial sanctum is the highest plane of consciousness with which we can attune. Since that is rather abstract, we have a technique that helps us to attune with this high plane of spirituality. And we visualize the celestial sanctum as a place. Maybe it's a place we've actually visited, or it's just in our imagination. But it's a place that when we think of it, our heart fills with joy. It's so inspiring. This could be a beautiful place in nature, maybe at the beach or in a forest or in a mountain. It could be a beautiful temple or a church or a synagogue. It could be a Rosicrucian temple. So in your mind, know what your celestial sanctum, know the symbol for your celestial sanctum. And now with your eyes closed, we're going to ascend to our celestial sanctum. So see yourself ascending above the place where you're seated, above the building you're in, above the city you're in, above your state or your province, above your country, see yourself ascending higher and higher until you look back at Earth and you see it as a spinning sphere. Now continue your ascent, going higher and higher until in the distance you see the celestial sanctum as you have chosen to visualize it. This is when you would see it as an inspiring landscape or a beautiful building. And come to the entrance of your celestial sanctum and pause for a moment so that you're entering in humility, with reverence. Step into your celestial sanctum. Look around at the inspiring beauty. Hear the beautiful sounds. Smell the fragrances. Be aware of what it feels to be in this sacred place. Now, in your celestial sanctum, look around and you see that everyone who is connected through this call is there together. And when you expand your awareness, you see that every Rosicrucian throughout the world is connected here in this celestial sanctum. You see all of the Grand Lodge officers, the administrators and Grand Masters. You see our Imperator. Through the strength of our combined energy, attuning in the celestial sanctum, we are now going to pause to recognize the many people who have selflessly served others during the pandemic. We're going to keep care workers and those carrying out essential roles in our thoughts. We're going to send these thoughts to healthcare professionals, emergency responders, delivery people, people working at pharmacies and grocery stores, the people who've been picking up our garbage, everyone who has put others before themselves during this pandemic. And in a moment, we're going to send our thoughts to them. But first, we're going to open up the chat and the microphones for a moment, just to be able to say their names, just one name. And then please mute yourself again after you say it. And I'm going to get us started with a few names. Alero, Essay, Comfort, Andre, Philip, KT, Esther, Divine, Oki, Samira, Tifa, Brian, Joan. So please unmute yourself now and write in the chat who you want to be included in this meditation. And it may be yourself. You may be a healthcare professional, an emergency responder. So
Linda,
Pamela,
Susana,
Morgan, Indra,
Shonda,
Soha,
Carol,
Andrea,
Mona,
Luis,
Alexis,
Quentin Pinckney,
Christine,
Emilia,
Andrea, Bridget,
Deborah, Adolphine,
Pamela,
Brian,
Justin,
all the others who help.
Samson,
Lisa,
Daisy,
Florence.
All of them. The Boniface members who are frontline workers.
Line workers.
Kelly.
All in St. George's Hospital, London.
Ezekiel.
Melissa.
Janet.
Dr. Guzman.
Gabriella.
Dr. Hill.
Melissa.
Tariq Daraja.
Goodbye, everybody.
Dr. Emma Colombo.
Donna.
Dr. Pajara.
Thank you, everyone. So you can continue to add names to the chat, but we will turn off the microphones now during our meditation. But again, please add more names in the chat. So now, still from our celestial sanctum, keep all of these people in our thoughts as we send them our thoughts of radiant health, strength, peace, and courage. Next, we are going to honor those Rosicrucian members who have gone through transition. And we will also send thoughts to everyone who has gone through transition. But this first meditation is to honor our fratres and sorors who have gone through transition from COVID-19. So I'll get us started. And then again, we will open the chat and the microphones. And this, if you know a Rosicrucian member who has gone through transition from COVID-19, please say their name. Al, Bernardo, Richard. And we'll open the mics.
Anthony.
Father Matthew.
Jessica.
Amadi Maliki. Mudilo Malemba.
Dr. August Chong.
Travis.
Report.
Magwanda Zakwan.
Iglafnud.
Sorority.
Jimmy.
So we're going to close the microphones now.
Mary Saki.
Please, thank you. Please continue to put names in the chat. So now send your thoughts of peace profound to our fratres and sorors who have gone through transition from the COVID-19 pandemic. And now expand those thoughts to include every man, every woman, every person who has gone through transition from COVID-19 Send your thoughts of peace profound to them. And send thoughts of comfort to their families, to all of their loved ones. Thoughts of comfort and courage and peace profound. And now let's expand that to everyone on earth, to all beings on earth. Send your thoughts for radiant health and peace profound to all. And while we are attuning from the celestial sanctum, let's open our awareness to the most beneficial future for all beings and our planet. Open yourself to being inspired, to seeing the vision of the most beneficial future for all beings and our planet. Together, let's intone the vowel sound Om, O-M, Om, 3 times. Ready? Inhale. Om. 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 Now we're going to end this attunement with the celestial sanctum. So see yourself leaving the celestial sanctum as you've chosen to visualize it, heading back towards Earth, towards the country you're in, the state or province, the city. You're back in your community. Bring your awareness back to this place and time. With our deepest reverence and gratitude, we give thanks for this attunement with the celestial sanctum. So mote it be. So at the beginning of our gathering, we made a note of the state of our inner being, how we're doing on the inside. We have been through a lot this year. All of us, whatever the state, whatever your inner state is, that is your inner state, whatever it is. You may feel great, you may feel not great at all. I invite you again just to close your eyes and just be aware again of your inner state. And we're going to open the microphones and the chat, and just in a word or two, share your inner state now.
Peaceful.
Reconciliation, relationship, love, warm,
Peace and calm.
Grateful.
peaceful and calm,
Positive.
Thankful.
And calm.
Very calm.
Sad.
Good.
Fortunate. Thankful.
Hope and deep satisfaction.
Complete.
Grateful.
I am happy.
I'm grateful and happy.
Awesome.
and relax, relax,
Gratitude. Looking forward
relax.
to the
Thank you very
future
much.
Dress is warm and fuzzy.
and hopeful.
Okay and calm.
Grateful. Thank you.
I'm so happy.
Thank you.
I belong.
Thanks.
He's profound.
Energized.
Protected.
It's serene.
Satisfaction.
Blessed.
Thank you.
I feel supported and protected in this energy.
Peaceful.
Best wishes for peace profound. Blessed.
Peace and calm.
Harmony.
Calm and peaceful.
Thank you all so much for sharing. And we're going to keep the chat open. So we will mute the microphones now. Please feel free to continue to share in the chat. And again, if you're feeling sad, that's what you're feeling. And we acknowledge that. If you're feeling hopeful, we acknowledge that. This is just a chance to check in and see where we are a year into this pandemic.